Thank you, Shivani, for the introduction. I'm parse. I'm a master's student studying computer science, and this is my workshop using Unity for data visualization. First, I'd like to ask if anyone has Sage 3, the Sage 3 software installed on their machine, and I'll be using it to show a lot of work. So if you don't have Sage 3, please let me know so that I can, supplement by asking more questions, and also so I can post some links into the chat so that you also have access to all the files that I will be using in this workshop. So, does everybody have Sage 3? No? No? Okay, I will, or do you guys have access to the Zoom link? Okay, then I'll post all the files into the chat so that you will still have access to them. Or, no, okay. Okay, good to know. I will be uploading all the files in the chat as well, so stay tuned. So for today's agenda, we're going to start off with an icebreaker, and then we'll go straight to the hands-on activity, which is made up of the project setup, Unity basics, importing the dataset we'll be using. Oh, sorry, I see a chat. Oh, it's delayed. We're gonna create scripts for the data manager, the data spawner, adding interactivity, and then we're gonna all hopefully have the same final product. And to end today's workshop, we're gonna finish it off with a survey. So for the icebreaker, this is sort of to gather some data. For me, I wanna know how much Unity experience everyone in this workshop has. As well as gather some data for like location data. So I have this in the Sage board. If you have the Sage software, you can join the board in the link in the chat. Or you can just watch my screen share and we can do the icebreaker through there. So the icebreaker is called Rate Your Unity Experience. The scale is 1 through 5. Give yourself a 1 if you've never used Unity before. 2 if you've opened Unity once or twice. 3 if you've built something small in Unity. 4, you're an intermediate Unity user, you're comfortable with the software. Or 5, Unity Pro, you've actually shipped a project. And so I've started here on the map. My initials are MH, and I would give myself an intermediate Unity user rating. And so if you don't have Sage, you can just give in the chat the general location of where you live, your initials, and your Unity experience rating, and I will place it on the board. Or if you're in person, you can also say your location, your initials, and your Unity rating, and I'll also place it on the board. Oh, my sticky. Where did my sticky go? Oh, sorry. Oh, this might. Okay. If you are on the Sage board, please do not click the map. Just drag your sticky onto the location, the general area of where you live. Okay? Who's this now?
There's this question, so if you're on Sage, how do you find
if you have access to the Zoom chat, it's this link, but if not, you can go to the, oh, I'm not sure why this image is stuck, but I will. Sorry. Sorry, everyone. If you've placed your sticky, can you please put it back? And please don't click on the map, because that will just give the map more priority and cover our stickies. Sorry about that. So let's see. Andrews is AZ 3.5. Oh, sorry, that was me. Okay. I didn't think this icebreaker 100% through, so apologies for the mistakes. Sorry, CJ.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, can you click on your sticky? Or like move it? Is it stuck? Okay. I'm sorry, I moved whoever is initials MO. Is it, if you could, sorry, if you could move it back to the general location, that would be great. Okay, nice. So we have 4 data points on the map. It looks like there's a good amount of range from 2 to 5 on the map. Does anybody have no Unity experience? No Unity experience, no Unity experience, no Unity experience, okay. Good to know. Did you guys want to place yourself on the map? Or you could just say your initials, your rating experience, and then I will place you on the map if you'd like. Oh, sorry, here's the rating. So, never used Unity, once or twice, built something. So we'll actually be using the Hawaii Climate Data Portal, their daily rainfall data set for the month of February. So here on their portal, you can see all the, they've collected rainfall through sensors from February all the way to the end of February, and you can scroll through the different days on the portal. So what I did is I actually pulled all the data from their portal and parsed it so that we can read it in Unity. But before we get to that, I'm going to start off with the project setup. So let me go back to the presentation. Has everyone installed Unity onto their, or Unity Hub onto their machine? No? Oh. I'm not 100% sure how long I can give for the project setup, so I can just go through the entire project, and then I'll have a link to the code at the very end of the workshop so that you can download the entire project and open it on Unity once you do have it downloaded. But yeah, the version we'll be using is 6.3, but or when you have Unity Hub downloaded, you should be able to use or whatever Unity 6 version you want. But if you download it from GitHub instead of just the scripts, then you will specifically need the installation that I'm using. So let me screen share my Unity Hub now. Or sorry, let me So if you have Unity Hub installed on your machine, you'll have, your layout will look kind of like this. There's a menu on this left side, and there's a new project button on this right hand side. So we're gonna click that new project button. And then we're going to make sure to click the Universal 3D template. You're going to name it whatever you want. So I'll name it Workshop Data Viz. And I'm going to store, or you can store it wherever you want. And then I'm going to create the project, which will take some time. Has everyone, or everyone with Unity created their project? Everyone online, if you have Unity, have you created your project? Oh, also, if nothing is clear, please don't hesitate to ask questions. Does everyone who've created their project have it open in Unity? Okay. If everyone has opened, or has the project open on Unity, we're gonna create a scene. So it starts off with a sample scene. named here, but if you can either create a new scene where you go to create scene, and it will show up in this assets folder on the left hand side, the bottom left hand side, and you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to call it workshop scene. And to open it, you can just double click it. So now your scene should only have a camera and a light. Has everyone made a new scene? Oh. Has everyone made a new scene? Okay. So in this new scene, we're gonna add a game object. So to do that, you can click in this hierarchy tab, right click, scroll down to 3D object, and you can choose either a cube, sphere, capsule, or cylinder. So I'm gonna go with a cube. And I'll just name this cube bar. So now we can see in the scene, there is this little gray cube. To focus in on it in your scene tab, you can press F for the shortcut. To zoom in, you press F. Oh no, within the, oh, do you mean like zoom in? Oh, I can. Sorry. So we can transform this cube in the space with these colored arrows. We can rotate the cube. If you press E on your keyboard, you can switch to rotation. And then if you press R on your keyboard, you can switch to scale, and you can enlarge in your cube, or you can shrink it. And then if you want to go back to movement, you would press the W for the movement shortcut. And you can see all the transforms have occurred here in the inspector tab under transform. So if I want to set everything back to 0, I would just set everything back to its starting point. Next, we are going to create a material to add to this cube. Sorry, let me update the slide, and then go back to Unity. So we are going to go to, I don't remember what I put. Assets, create, and then, oh, sorry. Assets, create material. Oh, you can't see that. Sorry, I thought you could see that. If you click in the assets folder down here on the bottom left, then you go to create material. You can also do it at the top of your, the top menu bar, sorry. But here I've already made the new material, and I will call it bar color. And I will change the color under surface inputs, base map to a blue, dark blue for rain. And then if I want to assign it to my cube, I simply grab it from the assets folder down here, and I drag it to the game object, and now it's blue. Does everyone have a colored cube in their scene? And if you don't, do you have any questions on how to get there? Or you could also say where you're at, and I can troubleshoot from there. Nope, okay. So now that we've created a material for the cube, we can actually create or make a template of that cube, and it's called a prefab in Unity, where basically you would grab the bar or the game object under your hierarchy and drag it into your assets folder. And you know it's become a prefab if this little icon next to the name changes from a wireframe to a more opaque cube, and you can also see it down here in the assets folder. So now if you actually delete this game object from the hierarchy, you can get that exact game object back, and you can make multiple with the same color and dimensions as before. So it's like an object that you can repeat. But for the sake of the workshop, you don't need either of them in your scene. Has everyone created a prefab or made the cube into a prefab? Or if you don't know how, basically you grab the game object from the hierarchy tab and you drag it all the way into your assets folder. And you'll know it's a prefab if the look of the game object has changed. So now we're going to import the data set. If you are on the Sage board, I have it here called February_2026, and you can just download the zip and unzip it. Or I can add it into the Zoom chat. Oh, wait, I have, Shivani, I have admin restrictions. Yeah, upload a zip file.
When I click on it on the Sage board, the web version, it's not actually doing anything. I don't know if I'm supposed to.
The web version of
Sage. Like I'm in the browser looking at it and I'm clicking on download. Is that supposed to trigger the download of the zip file? Or
yes, it should. Ooh, it says admin restrictions still. I can make one right now. Oh, and then I will go look at the download. I've uploaded it to my drive, and I think from there you should be able to download the zip file. Is everyone able to access the zip file over Drive? Thumbs up. Nice. Okay, I will move on. So we're going to import the data set, which I've taken from the Hawaii Climate Data Portal. And in Unity, we're going to, in the assets, in this section of the screen, we're going to create a folder and name it resources. This is case sensitive, so please make sure it starts with a capital R and ends with resources, not just resource. And then once we've created that folder, I'm going to unzip the file and drag it into Unity. And so now it has all the JSON files of every day in February with every single station, their lat long values, and the rainfall value. Does everyone have the folder JSONs in their resources folder? Everyone online? Nice. Okay, so now we're going to create a script. Let me go back to the Sage board, on to the next. We're going to create a Unity script called Data Manager. The variables are going to be the path name, the class for each JSON file, a class for each station object, a list for the keys of each JSON file, and a dictionary for the JSON file. So the label that we'll be using later for the UI, for the interactivity, and then the file name, and then a double for the maximum rainfall value. And then the functions we'll be using is awake, which is from Unity, and then we'll create our own called scan JSONs, a load day, which loads the JSON of that specific day, and then a parsing function called file name today, so that we can create the label. So go back to Unity. We can go to assets. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Go to assets, right click that section, create, and then mono behavior script. We're going to open that up, or it's gonna open up something down here in the assets folder, and I'm going to call it Rain Data Manager, but you can name it whatever makes sense to you. So once I've named it, I will double click it to open it up in VS Code. Okay, I can't have multiple screen shares, so I will just actually upload each script to the Sage board and go through each line. So if you have VS Code open, this script here on the right of the screen share is for our data manager. This is how we're going to access all of the JSON data when we are spawning in the bars of our 3D bar chart later on in this workshop. So here you can see this is the JSON folder path, and in our resources folder you just have to include the name, and then this is the class I was talking about that collects all the stations within a single day. So, for example, February 1st would have, or this would be a list of all the all the stations for February 1st, and then further down we create this class called station, which accesses all the data within a single station, and that consists of the ID of the station, the latitude value, the longitude value, and the rainfall value in millimeters. Then we create a list of keys and a dictionary so that we can access the key and the label. So the first script is scan JSON. So if you basically, if you just copy, paste the code, this is the first function that we kind of want to focus on. This is to scan all the information from the JSONs and stick it into a dictionary. And then we want to call it in the awake function of Unity so that it can see all of this data once, so that it doesn't have to keep looking at it over and over again every time you interact with the data set. And then there is a load day function which runs or is called later on when you select a single day. And then the last function is to get the label, or a more readable label from the file name, which is usually, or I've set it up to be 02 and then the day number. So this just makes it so that it's more readable. And if you have all the code from this script, we're going to go back to the Unity project. Sorry, I will just... From here, we're going to create an empty game object called, or you can call it whatever makes sense to you, but I'm going to call it rain data manager, the same as my script. and then I will add the component rain data manager. Oh, is my screen not sharing? Oh, okay. So I guess the screen share doesn't show me clicking add component, so you can actually select the script in the assets folder and just drag it to the data manager. So now in the inspector, you'll see that you have your script attached to your game object. And here is the file path. And when we play the scene, the day keys will populate. So here you can see these are the keys, which will then be used as the labels in the UI later on for all 28 days. So we have our data manager, and now we are going to create the spawner so that we can finally see the bars of rainfall in our scene. I just realized, for people who don't have access to Sage, do you have the code file, or should I also add it to the chat? Let me add that. Never mind. I don't have what type of object. They will both be empty game objects. So if you right click in your hierarchy and you, the very first option is create empty. Let me show that real quick. Oh, okay, got it. Let me just add the GitHub link so that you can have access to the entire project. Okay. So for everyone who doesn't have Sage, are you able to access the GitHub link through the Zoom chat? If you are not able to access it, please let me know.
Where is the rain data spawner script? Is it?
Or in the GitHub?
Or were you showing on Sage or GitHub?
I was gonna upload it to Sage one by one.
Okay.
But I can upload them all now, just to make it quicker. Also, since we've created our first script, you can add this fly-through WASD script. You can add it to your project and attach it to your main camera game object. This is to allow you to fly through the game view, which you normally wouldn't be able to do. So I will show how to add that script right now. So I've just dragged and dropped the fly-through WASD script into my assets folder, and now I'm going to drag it to the main camera. So if you click on the main camera in your hierarchy, you'll be able to see in the inspector that this is the script that we just attached. And I'm gonna increase my move speed to 20 because I want to move through the scene quicker. And so now that we've done that, let me add the data spawner script to the Sage board. So down here is the data spawner script, and in order to, or before I go through that script, we're gonna create another empty game object in Unity and call that rain data spawner. The shortcut to, or don't forget to save your project consistently. The shortcut for that I think is Control S or Command S, depending on your machine. And you'll know that your project is saved if there's no asterisks in your next to your scene name. So if you have the empty game object called rain data spawner, or whatever makes sense to you, I will now go through the spawner script. So the spawner script has a reference to the rain data manager, a material for the, so that we can color the cube, a color variable to save the original color material because we're gonna lerp through white all the way to the original color, a float for converting the rainfall millimeter value into a visible Unity unit so that we can actually see it in space, especially because the values are very small, or they have a wide range. We have a float for spreading out the cubes so they aren't spawned on top of each other. We have values for the center, latitude, and longitude, and lastly a list of all the cubes that we're going to instantiate and set to active in the scene. And we only need 3 functions for this script: the Unity's awake function, a spawn day function, and a clear day function. And if we go down here, this is the rain data spawner script. I just want to make sure, does everyone have access to that script in one way or another? If you don't, let me know and I can figure out how to get that to you. Okay, I hope everyone has gotten it. This is the data reference that I was talking about earlier. This is the cube prefab that we had created earlier in the workshop, but we actually won't be using this. I realized I did not update my code 100%. This is the visible Unity unit value, the map scale value to spread out the cubes that we're going to instantiate. This is the center latitude and center longitudinal value for the island of Oahu, or based on the data and the JSONs. And this is the a holder for all of the active cubes within the scene that we will instantiate at the beginning and then destroy once we switch to a different day. So this is our first function, spawn day. So it gets the labels, and then it loads the day of that label, and then it looks through each of the stations within that day, and we get the x, or we set the y value, which is the height, and then we get the x and z values based on, or calculated from the center of the island, and then we calculate where it goes from there. Then for this section, we instantiate the cube with the specific y, x, z values, give it a name so that it is sorted within the hierarchy tab, and then we transform it for so that we can see the rainfall. And then once it does all that, we add that newly instantiated cube into that list of active cubes up here. And then when we switch the day, we want to clear all those cubes within that active cubes list so that we can create the new cubes with new values, which is this clear day script. So we're just looping through every cube that is active and getting rid of them all. So if I go back to the Unity project and I drag in that data spawner script and add it to that empty game object, we we have to assign these variables, and so we're going to grab the data manager from the hierarchy and drag it into this little slot. So now it directly references this manager. And then the cube prefab is this bar. And now we can play it to see what happens. Okay, it did not spawn anything, and we're going to see why. Sorry, let me figure out why that did not work. I realized I was using an old script that has the wrong code, so let me upload the correct code. So this is the correct rain data manager script. And then, sorry, let me delete this. the fly-through, the data spawner, and the UI controller, which I will go into after the spawner script. Sorry everyone, I'm not 100% sure why this does not spawn anything. Okay, I don't want to spend this entire workshop debugging, so I will share a new screen share of a working project, so that, because I want you guys to be able to have this as your final product, and I don't want to drag this out. So this is a working version. So if you have the manager and the spawner, if you've downloaded it from, how to attach. Yes, that is correct. You attach the fly-through WASD script just to the main cab just by dragging it. And if you add it as a component, that should work as well. So if you play your scene with the play button here and you're in the game tab, you should be able to right click with your mouse and fly through the scene with WASD. Let me know if you are able to do that. Anyways, to go back to what it should show the Oahu Island with the value. This is February 1st, and this is the different bars for rainfall values. So this doesn't have anything to do with terrain. This is purely, the height of each bar is purely rainfall. and it's just the location that the space is for. Just curious, if anyone has pulled the code from GitHub or the current scripts on Sage, are they able to play the scene and see anything inside the game scene? CJ, do you see anything?
See what?
You able to play the scene on the base?
Oh, yes. I might have to switch the screen share. Let me. Something like this. And then when you scroll down, or when you fly through the game scene, holding right click and using the WASD keys, you would see this. Does this answer your question?
Having changed days.
Oh, I will get to that. I haven't created the canvas yet, but I will show how to do that. So I will switch back to the main Unity screen. So now, if you're following along with the presentation on Sage, we're going to add interactivity with UI elements. So we're going to create a text asset for the title, a slider so that we can move throughout the days, and then we'll actually duplicate that text asset so that we can also set labels. So here, since this is the working version, I actually already have the canvas. I've just hidden it from view. So I can create another one just for the demo. So I will create a UI canvas, and then this is the Text Mesh Pro asset, and I'll call it title. And we see it really tiny here, but I will increase the width to around 1,200 and the height to around 200. And then I will also give it the title Oahu rainfall in millimeters. Now I'll increase the size to 100 so that we can see it. I will center align it.
I figured out why it wasn't working. The UI object was spawning the.
Oh, I call it in UI controller. You're right. Sorry, so smart. I had a brain fart and then I could not think anymore. I should have given you guys the GitHub project from the very beginning.
I probably won't look at it, but.
So this is the title text asset. You can change the size, the value under this Text Mesh Pro component, and then you can adjust where it sits in the game scene under the rect transform. And this is all under the inspector tab. So I think I like where this title is. I'm gonna right click the canvas, or you can honestly right click anywhere, and you go to the UI area, and now I'm gonna create a slider, which is very small and in the center, so I'm going to move it down maybe to around -750. I'm going to increase the width to 1200 or maybe 1800, the height to 50, and the scale, or I'm going to click this little icon next to the X value and scale, turn it on so that they are all matching each other, and I'm going to increase the scale to 1.5. Then I will also duplicate this title game object by either right-clicking and duplicating it here, or pressing the Mac shortcut for duplication, which is Command D, and I think for Windows it should be Control D. So title 1, I'll rename it to label, and I will drag it, or I'll set it to -700, -600, so that it sits right above the slider. And I'll just leave it with no value because it'll populate with our UI controller script. So the correct UI controller script is in Sage now. The last script down here, it gets reference for the data manager, the data spawner, the slider that we just created, the label that we just created, and another private variable to keep track of where we are in the month. We have 3 functions: start, onSlider changed, and update label. Start is going to set the values of the slider, add a listener so that it listens to when the value of the slider is changed, updates the label, and then calls the spawn day function from the data spawner script. And then the onSlider change is just to check the value of that, where they currently are in the slider, and getting the day, the station data from that day. And so if we come back to Unity, since I made a new, or these, you would drag from the hierarchy, your data manager into data manager, your data spawner into spawner, and then from your canvas you would drag the slider into here, and then your label into here. So since I made a new canvas, I'm actually going to adjust what's used. So now when I play the scene, we see that down here the label has updated to show February 1st, and this is what the map looks like now. But now that we can interact with the data, I can actually first I want to make sure you go to, or click your slider, scroll down in inspector, and make sure that whole numbers is checked so that it won't stick to a double value, like a decimal value. So here, if we drag it, we see that, oh, sorry, February 2nd. It is a little slow because each day has data for 28,000 stations, so there are 28,000 cubes instantiated right now in the scene, so it is a little slow. But here we can see that the colors of the cube have changed as well. based on whether or not they are closer to the max value. So now that we're able to interact with the data, we can actually go through the entire of February. And actually, let me switch the share so that you can see just the game scene. Does everyone have, I guess, the slider and the label in their scene, as well as actually have it connected?
Is the fly-through script supposed to be attached to the camera?
Yes. In order to fly through the camera, you have to hold down left or right click. So I made this script to simulate how to fly through the scene tab because I was used to, yeah. So now we can actually scroll through all of February. So this is February 3rd, February 4th, 5th, 6th, and so on and so forth. So we see February 7th and February 8th had a lot of rainfall, and I'm not sure why, but, or like what storms were causing it. But this was the first full data set that I could download when I was first gathering the data, because I downloaded the data in March, so I didn't have the full month to see the Kona low storms that happened earlier that month, or later that month. So here, if you look up, this is all in millimeters, by the way, so the scale is not like inches, which is a lot larger. Okay, so I hope everyone was able to see this on their end, and if not, you can go to that GitHub link. Oh, this is done. I think you should be able to. In Unity, I just chose cubes because the rainfall is of a height, so I think it made the most sense to make like a 3D bar chart of Oahu. But if you mean like particle system where I guess you kind of control the intensity of the particles to simulate rain, I'm pretty sure you could do that as well. I just can't do it on the fly. But I was thinking about that for another idea. Did that answer your question?
Is the data have to be in a JSON?
I'm not 100% sure, but all of the work that I've done with like data visualizations in Unity, I think it's one of the easiest ways to read into the game engine. So I think typically because originally the files are GeoTIFFs, and I think there might be some ways, but JSON is just the easiest way.
So, like, if you wanted to put a visual image over a Wahoo, you do that with a TIFF file?
Like a 2D image?
Like a satellite image?
On top of the, like as a, I guess like an outline of.
Yeah, like if the rainfall was transparent and then underneath it you could see like a visual image of the topography.
That, you would basically make a plane and attach the texture to that plane with the map, and then lower the opacity of all the bars so that if you do like a top-down view, then you can kind of see the map through it.
Actually, yeah, I can download it. But it's just for the whole section.
Are you generating the world as well?
So, I'm not generating it. The HTTP, every single data point has the lat and long values of the station. So I just get the center and then calculate the value by minusing or adding.
I see. Are they all sums, individual clubs, or are they all eight together? Because there's optimization.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of optimization. I just wanted to get all of them in. Because they're all instantiated once you change the slider. They're cubes instantiated.
Oh, okay.
And then they destroy it.
Yeah, that's
Not an optimization pro yet.
I don't know. It's yeah. I just noticed the frame.
Yeah, it's really slow. I was thinking, I mean, you can.
It's possible to do shaders with vertex.
I think that's what the Zoom comment was talking about. Mesh vertices or like a particle system to make it a lot quicker. But I guess if you don't have Unity experience, the first thing you're gonna do is add just a regular game object into the scene.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, this is your final product should look something like this, and it's almost 12:50, and I know at the end of the workshops everyone is asked to do a survey. So where's my survey? Sorry. So thank you everyone for your time and patience and attention. If you could fill out this survey for the program evaluation, that would be great. And let me add that link to Zoom for easier completion. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. does the instantiation?
Yeah.
Yes. It is in the. Sorry, let me.
I see it.
Thank you. I have a general question. I was more familiar with using Blender for data visualization. I guess the main difference would be interactivity, right? Because on Blender you can just render the results and then just have it work. So is there an option to put like a data loader or something that people can change the data set real time and then the clock will just instantly update?
Do you mean like if we like have March data or like April
We
data?
have multiple.
You
Well, let's say I have another data that it's kind of formatted the same. And it's not preloaded in the
Mhm.
So I don't think I explored that in Unity, but is that really possible to do?
So there's another way of reading in data called streaming assets, where you can add it even after you build the project, or you can connect it to like the HTTP API, and then you pull the data from there, and then it would, I guess, you could get access to real-time data. But I have not personally connected the API to Unity before, like the HTTP API. I have not done that before.
So it's just like an API, right? And then you can get. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's at least with the HTTP API, there's a layer where you'll have to convert it to JSON somewhere in between, because I think, at least from how I access the data, they're all geotiffs, and I don't think Unity does very well with reading the geotiff data. So you would have to find that what's it called? That, like, I guess parsing, so that you can convert it.
Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.